All right, we're joined by obviously the GOAT coach, Captain Eric himself. Eric, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm over here, still in Florida. I've been here ever since UFC 249, since Henry broke the global pandemic with the first live sport on ESPN and defended his bantamweight title against the greatest bantamweight of all time, and Dominic Cruz, and knocked him out in the second round.
Why aren't you heading back to Arizona? Because isn't that where you normally take up residency?
I do, but actually I was planning on flying to Brazil immediately after, but then they had a travel ban because of the corona crisis. So I kind of been here in limbo, waiting to go. However, I'm trying to go because, I have to get Paulo ready for Israel Adesanya so he can erase the 185-pound middleweight champion and become the new face of the UFC. But you know what? It might happen where I've really been pushing for the Ultimate Fighter, so that hopefully that happens, so we can move it out, so I can get with Paulo, either me flying down there or him flying out, or well, actually he'd probably fly out here, or maybe to Fight Island. But it gives us more time. The crisis is kind of putting everybody in limbo right now.
Well, let's just start with Paulo. Is obviously that's been a fight months in the making. After 243, it should have been Paulo. Obviously, he got hurt. But when is the time frame for that? Because they're booking fights. Like you have August, and even they're starting to book in September. Like, when's this thing gonna happen?
Yeah, you know what? It keeps changing. Everything's changing. As soon as you think you know the answers, we change the questions. So, I mean, I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it's in limbo, but it's got to happen. The Eraser 13-0, 12 knockouts versus the Last Styles Bender 19-0. There's no better way to promote it than the Ultimate Fighter. After 6 weeks on the Ultimate Fighter, level 10 animosity between these guys is going to be interesting. Israel has he has a great mouthpiece, very witty. Obviously, he's the UFC middleweight champion, and then you have Paulo, who's built like a Greek god and looks like Ricky Martin and hits like Mike Tyson.
And when we talked after Cejudo's win, you basically said Costa Adesanya would be the greatest middleweight title fight in history. But if you add Tough onto that, how much better does that fight get and that promotion get?
I would say the greatest Ultimate Fighter in history. There's no better way to do it than on ESPN. Tough on ESPN 1. I've been on 5 Ultimate Fighters. So Tough 24, the Ultimate Fighter Brazil 2 with Team Minotaur Nogueira was my first. So this one is definitely has a lot of heat behind it.
Does it add heat too with the coaches? Because everyone keeps talking. Is it you or Eugene Berryman going to be coach of the year? Does that even add more rivalry to this tough match?
Definitely. I believe he's a great coach, an awesome coach. He's been with those guys since the beginning, kind of like me and Henry, and me and Patricio Pitbull. So, yeah, for sure. There's definitely rivalry. I mean, we're up for the Coach of the Year on the World MMA Awards. So right now, you go to the World MMA Awards, you log in and vote. This is the first time, I think, ever that 2 wrestlers, and Henry Cejudo and myself, I've been on the national team for Team USA. Obviously, Henry's a Olympic champion. Also was a 7-time Armed Forces champion for the U.S. military. So this is the first time a military person and a wrestler, along with another wrestler, is nominated as Fighter and Coach of the Year. And there's no better way to Henry go out on top than getting the Fighter of the Year along with his retirement as the best there ever was.
And just one more thing on Costa Adesanya. Like, do you think that fight happens this year, or are we looking like early 2021? Because that fight, I think, it kind of needs fans. With fans, I think it makes it a lot better too.
Definitely, that fight is going to be a war, much like Paulo versus Yoel Romero, and that crowd was very pumped after it. They got a fight of the night that night, and I anticipate somewhat of a result as far as the crowd being pleased by the pressure that Paulo the Eraser puts on the last style bender.
And moving on to Cejudo, obviously he's retired, but ever since he's retired, you have tons of people calling out. Volkanovski says he can come get it. You have Ryan Garcia, the boxer, says he'll box Cejudo. So, like, do you think his retirement's going to come out because he can get a lot of money boxing Ryan Garcia or trying to go for that triple champ against Volkanovski?
Well, that's the thing, Henry, when you've been number one, you kind of, since he was like 11 years old, he's been number one. He's always had that target on his back, and you set these goals, and you achieve them. There's kind of almost nothing left. But on the other hand, it's hard to get burnt out when you're making a few million a fight. So I think that's part of it. That's not the only reason why. He wants to retire because he's always been set on starting a family, and he dedicated his whole life to this, to becoming the greatest of all time, the greatest combat athlete of all time, and he achieved it, that becoming an Olympic flyweight and bantamweight champion. So there's only really one fight that kind of lures him, and that would be Volkanovski in MMA, due to the fact that nobody's ever won 3 titles in 3 different weight classes. So, and then King Ryan Garcia. Henry used to box. Henry started boxing right after wrestling for 3 years. Henry's hands are good. That's why King Ryan Garcia called him out. But really, there's only one true king. And sooner or later, everyone bends the knee to Triple C. So if it's boxing, it's Ryan Garcia. If it's MMA, it's Volkanovski. And, a lot of people are raising the stakes. Henry raised the stakes, saying he bet his first girlfriend ever to fight these guys. And then, Coach Kavanaugh, Conor McGregor's coach, I saw a tweet where he said if I think Ryan Garcia kind of challenged Dylan Dennis, and Coach Kavanaugh said if he lasts one round with Dylan Dennis, that he would retire and never train again. So if everybody's raising the stakes, allow the captain to raise the stakes. And if the Pitbull brothers versus SBG, Patricio Pitbull versus Pedro Carvalho, Patricio Pitbull versus Peter Queally, and Leandro Ego versus James Gallagher, if any of those guys lose on one judge's card, if Volkanovski dares to whisper Triple C's name, if he wins at UFC 251, I will retire these glasses, my white glasses, forever. Because all the trolls want to be me, and all the women want to come see me when I put these on. They're haters. They can't see me.
You obviously have Volkanovski fighting Holloway next weekend. If Holloway wins, is that intriguing for Cejudo? Is it more Volkanovski? Because Volkanovski been saying stuff to Cejudo.
No, I think it's the weight class. I don't think for right now, if Holloway wins, I think Henry beats Holloway as well. I mean, Henry's not that much smaller than Volkanovski, so he's shown that he's beatable, and he really doesn't have the knockout power. He's more of a volume puncher. And Henry does have that knockout power. As you see, he's just coming into his own. He's stronger than he's ever been. His fight IQ is higher than ever. And, he had stem cells from BioAcceler and Medellin, so he's kind of like regenerated his body. Feels like he's 18 again. And, he's at the top of his game, even though he's retired. Michael Jordan retired as well, and he was still at the top of his game when he did. So who's to say there might ever not be a comeback? Anything's possible is what I'm saying.
And let's go to the Pitbull brothers. We'll start with Patricio. He's obviously the double champ. in Bellator. He's in the middle of that featherweight Grand Prix, which kind of got disrupted. Do you have any idea when Bellator's come back? Because there hasn't been much talk of when they come back or when they're resuming that featherweight Grand Prix.
I've heard that they're coming back maybe in July, but Patricio is he comes from Brazil. Pedro Carvalho comes from Ireland at SBG, Conor McGregor's team. So I think those fights might get pushed out a little bit more.
And with Patricio, you're obviously drinking the goat milk. Because with Patricio he is, regardless of promotion, he's one of the best fighters in the world. Say he were to get a cross-promotional fight at the UFC or get to the UFC, like, how do you think he'd fare against Volkanovski or Khabib, were the champions, those weight classes?
He wins. I've said this for a long time, that he is pound for pound. I've never seen a champion that evolves and continuously like him. And I've been on the best teams in the world. My first team was Team Nogueira with Anderson Silva, Junior Dos Santos, Big Nog, Little Nog, and two young pups called the Pitbull brothers, Patricky and Patricio. They were about 21 at the time, and we've been together ever since. And this is a guy that seeks to improve. He brought me to his home city in Natal, Brazil, the Pitbull brothers, and he invests in himself. He hires the best coaches. He went and hired a two-time Olympian and world champion in Everton. And for boxing, he has a karate coach, Mano Santana. And then he has his two teammates that have retired. They grew up together under the Pitbull brothers system, Bruno Gouveia. So the team he has mounted is just unbelievable and really contributing to his success. And he would be, I don't care who you put him against. This guy, I think he's going to be the first triple champion in MMA history. And if he goes 135, if they give him that fight, he goes 135. He's already 145, 155 pound champ when he beat Michael Chandler, the greatest lightweight in history. And now he could go down and actually win the 135 pound belt. And he's always been a small 145 pounder, which is attributed to his, how amazing he is for him to actually go up, be a champ at 145, and then go up to 155. So he is to me, he's pound for pound. I witnessed him. Anybody that ever sees him train, comes to our gym, thinks the same thing. And it doesn't matter what promotion you're in. I'm an MMA coach. I know MMA, and he is the best in the game right now.
And do you think we'll ever see that Chandler rematch? Because Chandler's talked a lot, but it was so convincing. It was so early that I don't know if a rematch really is necessary.
And yeah, you know what? Anything's possible. Chandler keeps winning. I would love to get Patricky Pitbull at a title shot at 155 against. We can have the brothers being champions, which would be another first in MMA history. But he could beat anybody. Volkanovski, Conor McGregor, the original champ versus the reigning champ. He's the most complete fighter in the game.
And another one on Patricio is in the featherweight Grand Prix. The other side is obviously Darren Caldwell, AJ McKee. Both those guys have talked a lot of trash to Patricio. Does he have a preference of who he'd want to get out of there, or does it really not matter? He just wants to fight either one of them.
He'll fight any one of them, but both those guys can get it from Patricio because they both have gotten in his face, and I love that kind of controversy. It sells fights. I think Caldwell really sells the fight. I really like Caldwell. I think Caldwell's an NCAA champion, and I think we sent Caldwell over. We could have fought Caldwell in the first round, but I gave the advice. I was like, let's send Caldwell over to the other side and beat out all the young bucks, and then we can possibly get Caldwell in the finals. And that's where the wrestling defense comes in, and that's why I'm on the wrestling coach of the Pitbull brothers, so we can win these matches. We've been very successful against all wrestlers.
And then is the goal for Patricky Pitbull is beat Peter Queally and then have Patricio vacate the lightweight belts and he gets a shot to win the lightweight title?
Yeah, the goal is for Pitbull brothers to arrive in Ireland, burn the ships, and get ready to conquer another castle in SBG, Conor McGregor's team, and leave as the kings of MMA, and as far as the team, and then from there, yeah, get a world title. I think that's always been the goal. We've come close. We're little by little, we're correcting the mistakes necessary to become a world champion and achieve that dream.
What's a bigger rivalry for you? Is it SBG or is it City Kickboxing?
Neither. Pitbull brothers, we got 4 belts, baby. Nobody compares to us. We got 4 belts. We also have the Erasers ranked number 1 at 185. We have the Korean Zombie ready to take on another title at 145 as well. I'm sorry, 185 for the Eraser, and then Korean Zombie, for the 145-pound weight class. So, we are the standard. We are the standard, and we have 4, and I'm looking to get a belt in every weight class, and that's my goal. All my fighters seek to become world champions, and their dream is my dream. So, one of the weight classes I really would like is heavyweight. So, I don't have a heavyweight yet, but I'm looking.
And that's another guy I want to talk about. Is a lot of people don't realize you coach Korean Zombie. Like, how did that all come together? You working with Korean Zombie?
Eddie Cha. So Eddie Cha was Henry striking coach against Dominic Cruz, and you saw how good those leg kicks were. We hit him 14 leg kicks. And when he started after his loss to Yair, he kind of said he coached himself. So he ran into Eddie Cha. He liked the EddieCha.com system and came to Fight Ready. We have one of the best team leaders in the business in Dave Zowine. He kind of puts everything together as far as like the sports performance, and we have our stem cells, and we have the nutrition and Neuroforce One, and just our whole system that we have. He kind of is the person that puts it all together, and he's I forgot the question. Hold on.
No, you answered it as Eddie Cha was how you got Korean Zombie.
Yeah, so Eddie Cha is he came to train with Eddie Cha, and I was there we had the greatest camp going on. We had Patricio, Henry, and the Eraser all preparing to win their second world title. Paulo's preparing for Yoel Romero to become the #1 contender. So all that camp was going on. Korean Zombie was there at Fight Ready as well, and Leandro Ego started becoming his training partner. So he started sparring with him, and then when we had to fight Brian Ortega, I became more involved because I brought Leandro back out to train with him as his main training partner, and we did, the camp training for Brian Ortega, and then it got switched to Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
He knocked him out December 21st in 2019 and became a title contender.
And with Korean Zombie's obviously 2-fight winning streak, quick knockout over Renato Moicano, then the knockout over Frankie Edgar. This Brian Ortega fight has been rumored for months, but it seems like it's something's always happening. Do you think we'll see that fight this year? Or do you think Korean Zombie's gonna have to fight someone else?
Well, hopefully we see it. There's a little bit of animosity there. Brian Ortega slapped Korean Zombie's best friend in Jay Park, so that's something that we got to. He wants to kind of get revenge for that. So, if not, one of my guys is going to fight Volkanovski. We got Volkanovski figured out. We got him figured out. He's running away from Triple C. I don't think he dares going to whisper Triple C's name if he wins at UFC 251. But, Korean Zombie can get with him too. Eddie Cha is training both those guys. So we have the game plan to beat him. We've always had the game plan for those Eastern Bloc countries. Henry's been avoided from, even in wrestling. Even in wrestling, he supposed to wrestle a Russian in the finals. Really, there was a Russian on the other side of the bracket, but he didn't make it to the finals. And Henry wrestled Tomohiro Matsunaga in the finals of the Olympics. So we wanted the Russian and another Eastern Bloc country to put a notch on our belt. And but Volkanovski I think he's afraid of Triple C.
And just last thing, with a Korean Zombie, would you be surprised if, no matter the result of this Holloway Volkanovski fight, that he could get the next title shot? Because it seems like Zabit and Yair are going to fight each other, and they seem like they need another win. But Zombie could easily get the next title shot, I feel like, without even fighting Ortega.
Definitely, Zombie's right there. Zombie's probably the #1 athlete in Korea, and he did his military stint, came back. He's been on a roll and getting 2 quick knockouts against superior talent and opponents. So Korean Zombie is definitely next in line. One of my guys, we're going after 185. We're going after 145, baby.
Would that be the dream card for you? Is main event Costa Adesanya, co-main Volkanovski versus Cejudo or Korean Zombie?
Heck yeah. You got it right there, Cole. We take them all out at once.
All right, Eric, thank you so much for doing this again. I appreciate it.
What else? We have to. Who's voting? We got to get BJ Penn, guys. We're gonna vote for the World MMA Awards. Log in and vote for Triple C and the captain Henry Cejudo and Eric Albarracin. And thank you guys for always supporting us. And there's no better way to reward one of the greatest combat athlete of all time, and Henry Cejudo, as he becomes Fighter of the Year and goes out on top, really. And we've been together since 2004, been with Henry for 16 years, with Pitbull for 10 years, the Pitbull brothers. So make sure you vote for, put your vote in for us. I feel like we're campaigning. I feel like a politician. I feel like I'm Trump over in South Dakota doing a big old rally.
All right, well, Eric, thank you again for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cole. Thanks for having me, and go to bjpenn.com.